How many ways can there be to understand gender? As it turns out, a lot more than many of us have been exposed to. Hey class, welcome to Abroad Sex Education, the sex education you deserve that actually makes sense. I'm your host, sex educator, and guide to gender diversity, Sin. And today, my co-host is Brooklyn.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Yay, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming again.
I'm excited to be here.
Of course. This podcast is a sex education resource for adults. We have real, inclusive conversations about human sexuality, pleasure, relationships, gender, identity, and more. Some topics may feel explicit or sensitive. Our goal is to break the stigma and offer the kind of sex education many of us never got. We're learning too, and we're bringing what we learn here so we can all grow together. You deserve to know what this is about so you can make an informed choice to listen. Or not. That's what consent looks like, even here. Today's lesson is Beyond the Binary, a global history of gender diversity. We're exploring how different cultures around the world have understood gender throughout history. Because while many of us may only be familiar with modern Western conversations about gender, societies across the world have recognized gender diversity for centuries. These histories give us a much fuller picture of humanity and reminds us that there's never been one universal way to understand gender. So let's travel around the world to see how different societies understood gender, the roles gender diverse people play in their communities, and how history shaped the conversations today.
Exciting? I can't wait. I'm excited because while you were researching and planning this, you were like, oh, I'm so excited. Like, this is so cool. So I'm excited because I'm like, ooh, what was like so surprising to you?
I think this lesson really encompassed a lot of things that I like learning. Like, I love learning about culture. Yeah. And the whole theme of this lesson is the fact that gender diverse people have existed in different cultures all throughout time. It's like a form of traveling because I got to learn the history, the geography, the culture of a specific place or land, and how things ended up now where we are a lot more strict on our gender views. And it just encompasses what I really liked in sociology. I probably would have done anthropology just because I love the study of culture. And so I think this lesson really transitions into that.
Yeah, this is like a modern day study, I guess, but also it goes back in time. I've heard briefly of different cultures having third genders and, you know, different terms for things. So I'm interested to kind of dive into it because I feel like my understanding has been very broad.
Yeah. So this is Beyond the Binary, a global history of gender diversity. This is lesson 18. And by the time this lesson comes out, it's 1 year anniversary of Abroad Sex Education.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Yeah. Happy 1 year.
Happy 1 year to you.
Thanks.
Congratulations. I remember I was like, oh, I'm so proud of you for doing this. And I feel like you really stuck with it and you really even improved it. It was already great when you started and you really just keep going for it. So it's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. All right. This is going to be our third lesson in our Pride Month special. We are going to have a language class. There are a few phrases and words that I know I'm going to use that I am used to because I am in the field. This is my vocabulary. But I know it's really important to break it down. And especially since there's this fear and stigma around gender diversity, people don't fully understand it. And even when I was learning the differences of some things, I was really surprised. It was a good refresher for me, so it should be great for everyone else too.
This will be a great resource for people because I think there's a lot of people I've even met before that have openly been like, hi, I'm new to the group and I just want you to know that it's not intentional if I like misgender or miscommunicate in some way. So please let me know and I'll like do my best to work on it. So I think this is a really cool resource for people to share with other people that do want to not offend anyone and don't want to make the wrong mistake or say the wrong thing. So I think this is really cool for them to have access to that.
Yeah, thanks. You can join me in my rage in the animal.
Oh, okay.
We're going to explore how different cultures understood gender diversity, the roles gender diverse people played in society, and how colonialism changed many of these traditions.
I feel like if colonialism is involved, then that's bound to go well. Okay.
And that pop quiz, we're going to test your knowledge on the people, cultures, and historical events that shaped this lesson.
What? A pop quiz? I'm not ready. I didn't know you were going to do this to me.
What a surprise.
I know. I'm shocked.
All right. Ready to start?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay. We're going to start off with language. First up is going to be some stuff we've talked about, but this was probably the second episode of Abroad Sex Education, so almost over a year ago. But we've had some follow-ups about it in previous episodes. I know Asa has asked. We did an episode on gender being a social construct, and so I wanted to just re-emphasize that now. So there is a difference between sex and gender. Sex refers to a person's biological attributes, and a person's gender or gender identity is a person's internal sense of their own gender. Gender expression is how a person expresses their gender identity outward through their behaviors, clothing, language, and more. So this could be the use of pronouns, the way they style their hair, style their clothes, and things like that. And then sexual orientation is a person's romantic, emotional, and sexual attraction towards other people.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Any follow-up question on these?
No.
Okay.
I don't feel like I have any. I mean, is there an area maybe that most people get confused on?
There are, and that's going to be in the next slide.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So the next slide is going to be the words we'll specifically use in this episode. It's just a list of definitions. But the first is AFAB, A-F-A-B, and that stands for assigned female at birth. And then AMAB, A-M-A-B, is assigned male at birth. Mm-hmm. So these are just terms that usually people within the trans community use to refer to the gender that they were assigned at birth. Mm-hmm. Cisgender is when a person's gender identity aligns with their sex assigned at birth.
Yeah, that one I feel like you hear a lot.
Mm-hmm. Transgender is a person whose gender identity does not align with their sex assigned at birth. Mm-hmm. And non-binary is a broad term for someone whose gender identity does not fit the traditional male or female binary.
So this could be anything. Non-binary could be anything other than the two distinct terms that we have.
Mm-hmm. Gender fluid, that's just a term under non-binary, but that is a person whose gender identity is not fixed and fluctuates over time. So like some days they feel more masculine, some days they feel more feminine. A person who's gender non-conforming is a person whose gender expression is different from traditional societal norms. So a cisgender heterosexual man could be gender non-conforming because they express themselves in a way that is of the opposite gender.
Okay.
Yeah. Gender non-conforming has to do with gender expression.
Okay.
And then gender fluid and non-binary are about gender identity.
Okay, that really helps break it down, I think.
Mm-hmm. Another word that I included is transvestite. This is an outdated term, and it's considered offensive in certain contexts. There is a historical context in which I am going to be using the word, and it's historically been used to describe trans and non-binary people.
Okay, I'm glad you distinguished that because like I had heard obviously that term before and it was always a negative connotation, but then I was like, so what does it actually mean? Because I feel like we have all these much more appropriate terms now. And so I was like, how is that different? What is that? Like, what does that mean?
All right, so now that we understood the vocabulary, let's look how different cultures understood gender long before modern terminology existed. We're going to go into anthropology.
Yay.
And the first place we're going to travel to on this trip is Native Hawaii and Native Tahiti. So in Native Hawaiian and Tahitian cultures, there is a group of Māhū people. They are people who are both masculine and feminine. They're known to be healers, caregivers, and teachers of ancient traditions. They would pass down their knowledge through chants and hulas. So they preserved a lot of like traditional Hawaiian culture. Mm-hmm. Being a Māhū isn't about a physical, there's a mental, emotional, and spiritual element as well. In Hawaiian and Polynesian language, there's no sex or gender attached to pronouns. So that's one of the reasons why.
Cool.
They also don't have like a separation.
Mm-hmm.
In the 1800s, when American missionaries arrived, they condemned and tried to destroy the Māhū.
Like the tradition of their hula songs or their hula dances or their like healing, all of it, everything.
They were bringing the Māhū
So
people
they
down.
came and then they realized these are Māhū people and they don't identify as male or female.
Yeah.
Like they could tell that.
Americans came and were like, these savages don't understand how the world is supposed to be. Let me show them that there's only two genders. When the colonists came, they were trying to control these peoples, and part of that was trying to find ways to get them to assimilate and erase their history. And since these were the people who were preserving their history, they knew they had to take down the Māhū people.
That did not have a place in their society that they were trying to force on them.
Yeah, because it was very strict gender.
Everything would just be so much better if we just took their ideas instead. But it is really cool and interesting that all these like different cultures have this aspect to them that all these people do belong, and it's just like the colonials came and were like, you don't belong here, go away, but they actually do belong.
Yeah, it's great because a lot of these cultures that we'll talk about were very at one with the land. They were very spiritual, and so I love that element of it. It was like these are just people who respect nature, who are also giving back to the earth, and preserving and creating their own culture. It's especially annoying, but for the Hawaiian people, sexual activity was just, it exists. It's the natural human behavior. And so they didn't have any shame towards it. And then when American colonizers came, they taught them, you need to have shame around this.
Oh, see, that is interesting because I remember in the Bible, the whole thing is Eve takes a bite of the apple and then they knew to then be ashamed that they were naked. But before that, they didn't know. I don't know who decided all of a sudden that we had to be ashamed of that. And all these other cultures were like, yeah, this is part of nature. And I remember at one point, I think it was in one of my college classes, it was like, look at your reproduction system. It's the same as your digestive system. You're learning about a part of your body and its purpose and all of that. So like, there shouldn't be shame around it, but it's really weird that we have evolved as a culture to create all this shame around it and make it such a taboo topic.
Yeah, agreed. Colonization and Christianity created a lot of stigma around the Māhū people. In the 1960s, drag culture started to become popular in Honolulu's Chinatown, and there would be a lot of violence and discrimination. Most of the Māhū people are assigned male at birth.
Okay.
Yeah, but they made the Māhū and transgender people who were male assigned at birth wear those pins that say, I am a boy.
Okay.
And if they didn't have them, they could get beaten. If they didn't have the pin, they would be fined under intent to deceive. They had to wear them.
And this was what year?
In the 1960s.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, crazy. That's not cool at all. That's very crazy. So was this just like a fear of being attracted to them? Like by the...
It seems like.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Yeah, right. Like when we're going through all this, I was like, great, none of this affects my life.
Yeah.
You guys do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, be happy.
It's concerning to me that people felt afraid because they were attracted to it. Because I think people who are gender nonconforming or people who are non-binary, there's something attractive and amazing about like the balancing of both genders, or like not feeling subscribed to one gender specifically.
Yeah, and I feel like this is also something kind of recognized in like media, because you see a lot of models that are androgynous as well, but the fear that they would be attracted to somebody that was assigned male at birth, like who cares? I mean, generally very attracted to men, but if I see a beautiful woman, I'm not like, ah, you know, like that's fine. She can still be beautiful. It's not.
I'm not threatened by my own femininity.
Right.
For thinking another woman is beautiful.
A 10 is a 10.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. So there was obviously stigma that followed them, but the island is much more receptive to Māhū people now. It used to be considered a transphobic and homophobic slur. A lot of the native Hawaiian and Tunisian people are trying to reconnect with their roots and are essentially being like, F you colonism.
Yeah, that's great. In this picture, so is the Māhū the one in the center? So it's showing like, here's the traditional male, traditional female all the way on the right, and then in the center is the Māhū people?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. This is a video that was really good. It was from The Meaning of Māhū by Leipua Aya Queer Histories of Hawaii. Initially in the video, the female person gives the flowers in her hair to the Māhū person, and then the male gives the spear. And so they have both.
What a really cool way to interpret it and just teach about this even.
Yeah, it's a great video. And then below it is a formation of rocks. These 4 rocks are a symbol of the 4 Māhū people who traveled from Tahiti to Hawaii, and they're like sacred healing rocks. I didn't do a huge deep dive on them because when I go to Hawaii, I want to go visit them. So I figured do a deep dive when I get there. But that is the Māhū.
So cool.
And then I've also included 3 different flags. 2 of them are Hawaiian flags. These are considered the native Hawaiian people's flag, not the actual flag of Hawaii.
Oh, like the state of Hawaii,
Yeah.
the America? Okay.
There's 2 versions of them because they are both recently created. I want the native people to have their representation, so I put both. And then I also put the flag of Tahiti.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Make your own flag.
Yeah. All right. Well, thousands of miles away, another culture recognized the distinct gender category with a history of stretching back centuries.
I think I know this one.
This one is the
Yeah.
Hijra.
This is the one I'm familiar with.
Yeah. So the Hijra people are a group of people in India and other Southeast Asian countries that are neither female or male. They are also a third gender. They are different from transgender people because the word includes people who identify as transgender, non-binary, and intersex, or none of these. So it's just a little bit more of a broader term.
Mm-hmm.
The first explicit mention of a third gender community was in the Kama Sutra, which was finalized in c. 300 CE, which is an ancient Indian text written in Sanskrit.
I'm going to sound so stupid right now. I thought the Kama Sutra was all pictures. I didn't realize there was any actual words in it. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's more than just sex positions.
Okay,
It's like,
this is news to me.
yeah, I literally just found this out.
Okay, good.
I knew that it had to do with sensuality, and I also want to do another episode about
Yeah.
it. It has to do about pleasure in life and interactions with people and stuff like that.
Okay.
So-
The Kama Sutra understands foreplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ancient texts where the Hijra adjacent people were mentioned, again, not explicitly Hijra, showed up as people or gods who would shift or portray different genders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because, yeah, they have so many gods in their culture. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
They're considered spiritual. Like, a lot of people would use them for specific practices. I believe it was like before getting married or like before coming to a home, they would bless the home. So there's still some level of spirituality to them, but generally they are not seen positively in society. Even in historical texts, they weren't always viewed positively.
Really?
Yeah. But it wasn't until British colonists came and deemed them criminal castes that the discrimination intensified. They essentially went from being tolerated to completely cast out.
So my understanding, this is new. I didn't realize that they were just like tolerated. I thought it was just like, that's, fine. Like we have this all-encompassing term for people. And so I didn't realize that they also kind of were shunning it a little bit. And then obviously I know what the British were doing because they just keep doing that everywhere.
Right. They were deemed immoral by the British, and we talked about it in the last laws, but the anti-homosexuality laws that were passed by the British increased the stigma further. In April 2014, the Supreme Court of India formally recognized the existence of third gender, but it's still stigmatized today.
Wow.
Yeah. The fact that the Supreme Court of India recognized them as a third gender, it gave the minority group a status within the government so they can get government assistance. People got mad about it because they're assholes, of course.
They got mad that they were able to get government assistance.
Yeah.
So
because they're mad specifically because it encompasses both third gender and transgender people. So they were just like, why don't they get those resources? It's just more upset.
to transition if they wanted to, is that what the resources are for?
No, they're just government social programs.
Oh, okay.
Hijra people still face discrimination in housing and employment a lot now.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. Hijras usually have their own community,
Okay.
and that's how they are able to survive. It's just them supporting each other. This is going to be a future deep dive.
Yeah.
In the images that I have on the presentation, there is Hijra people doing traditional dancing. And then there's also different bathrooms that says he, she, and transgender. So the third gender option.
And they have their own designated bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
India isn't the only place that gender diversity had a recognized social role. Next is going to be Samoa, which is the Fa'afafine and Fa'afatama people of Samoa and the Bisu people of Indonesia. In Samoa, they actually have 4 different genders.
Oh.
So they recognize female, male, Fa'afafine are people who are assigned male at birth, but Fa'afafine translates into in the manner of a female. And then Fa'afatama are people who are assigned female at birth, but that translates into in the manner of a man.
Okay.
The fa'afafine and the fa'afatama roles in society are to care for elders and educate others on sex, especially since it's also considered taboo within the public context.
It is in their culture as well.
Mm-hmm. They have a really cool dance. It's called the Dance of a Taupo. Taupo is a ceremonial host who welcomes you, who is usually chosen by the high chief of the region. And a Taupo dance reflects the ideals of appropriate female behavior. It's kind of like a cultural drag host in the sense.
Mhm.
They do Taupo pageants as well. And when colonizers would come, the chiefs would send Taupo to greet the colonizers that were coming. But the Taupo also made fun of Christian colonists by using sexual humor and body language.
Well, I feel like if they were being prudes about it, that'd be really hard not to.
Yeah.
Was this usually the same people that they would always send to greet anybody that was coming?
It was just whoever was chosen by the high chief at the time.
Oh, okay. So what he was like, the colonizers love this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They liked them because they were like, oh, they're really like feminine. But they also didn't realize that these people were making fun of them.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was hilarious.
Well, I feel like that a lot was missed in those instances.
The other one that's on the same slide is the Bisu people of Indonesia. Many cultures in Indonesia have a more gender fluid viewpoint, but this is specifically Bisu of Sulawesi. These are usually people who are intersex or have ambiguous genitalia.
Mhm.
Some of them are also assigned male at birth.
Okay. So this kind of encompasses all of those categories?
Yes.
Okay.
They are considered spiritual leaders and very mystical. There's a New York Times article that I have as in my resources, but one of the quotes I really like is they're seen as a bridge between earthly and celestial.
It's really interesting to me that so many cultures have them associated with spirituality. And it also kind of makes sense because, like, even in Christianity, like, angels don't necessarily have a gender, but then even though they all have male names.
Mhm.
But so it's interesting that is still a part of Christianity, but then the colonizers had such an issue with it. And it's like, Jesus was wearing a dress and had long hair. Why do you care so much?
Right. The Bisu people were revered by the Bugis people. That's the name of the people in the region.
Mhm.
There's about 6.4 million people, and it's the most populous ethnicity in the Sulawesi province. The existence of the Bisu people predates the arrival of Islam.
Wow.
Yeah. And they believe in 5 different genders. Cis women wear makunrai. Cis men wear orone. Men with female traits are kalabai. And women with masculine traits are kalalai. And then Bisu was the 5th gender. It's interesting, though, because while the Bisu people were revered in their region, the men with female traits, the kalabai, were disrespected and looked negatively upon.
Say that one more time.
So the Bisu people,
Uh-huh.
because there's a spirituality and mysticism that's connected to them,
Yeah.
they, at least previously, weren't looked down upon.
Uh-huh.
Versus the men with feminine traits, the kalabai, are looked down upon and stigmatized.
It's always like because you're being feminine, like that's the bad thing.
Yeah. Men hate women.
I'm having a really hard time not cursing right now. And I've been really good up until this point.
You're allowed to curse.
Well, fuck you guys. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My whole lesson, I was just like, one fuck all of
Oh, God forbid somebody be feminine. Ugh.
So because this area was already predominantly Muslim, the Dutch colonization and Christian influences weren't as successful as in other countries. The biggest threat from Islamic and Dutch colonization was their loss of status. So after Islam and the Dutch came, the Bisu people lost their status. And this is even just a very specific region of the Indonesian culture. So
after they lost their status, then what did they do?
So they're going extinct in a sense. So in the 1960s, after Indonesian independence, Islamic reformist groups targeted traditional Bugis practices. Specifically, Bisu people were attacked, forced to conform, and their ceremonial items were destroyed. They were trying to, quote unquote, purify Indonesia, and Bisu people had the choice to either die, live as a man, or shave their heads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There is a very, very small amount of Bisu people left, and they are very worried that they are going to be the last generation of
that's so
Bisu
sad.
people. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 Gen Z Bisu people. There's very, very few.
Even though it's so populated.
Yeah.
And so what's also interesting is in the past 3 episodes, how much destruction of the history has happened in all of the episodes, whether it was like by the Nazis or by colonizers or just like not acknowledging, even though they've been here all along, like all of these people, like how much history has destroyed the proof of it or the evidence of it.
Yeah. They just were threatened by the things that they don't know.
Yeah, that's just not like them, I guess.
Yeah.
It's still going to be here, though.
There was another thing I was going to tell you about the Bisu people. The traditional dress is really cool. What they wear, they do this really awesome traditional dance with a sword. I'll do it. It's very cool. I was watching the videos and watching traditional dance, and it's so interesting. I say that about everything that I've watched.
No, but I was like, this actually is, you delivered. You told me this was going to be really interesting, and you've delivered. This is all fascinating.
Yeah. All of these things deserve their own individual deep dive lessons, but for the sake of Pride Month, it's all just a
this is
overview.
The intro, this is the taster, and then we're going to have the main course later.
Yes. But those are the Bisu people. The next is Two-Spirit. And Two-Spirit is specific to North America, but as the Indigenous people like to call it Turtle Island, I did not realize that that's what Indigenous people call North America.
I didn't either, but I will now be calling it that. Yeah.
I was like, that sounds so much better than North America. Fuck North America.
Yeah, and like if anybody, where are you from, Turtle Island?
Yeah.
It's badass.
Yeah.
Cute little turtles, totally awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's also Happy Indigenous History Month as well.
Yay!
Yeah, June is Indigenous History Month and Pride Month at the same time.
Awesome.
So, Two-Spirit is the modern umbrella term from Indigenous people of Turtle Island. Not every Native tribe follows this, but it is something that exists in Native communities, so wanted to bring that up here. Two-Spirit people are viewed as honorable and gifted. They carry both female and male identities. The only people who can identify as Two-Spirit people are Indigenous people. They were healers, medicine people, and visionaries, and they were thought to be gifted double vision to see through a masculine and feminine lens.
Oh, cool.
They predate American settlers, of course, because there were already people here. This land wasn't... one is illegal on stolen land.
Yeah.
No one is illegal on stolen
land. The white people then are illegal if we're looking at it that way. Yeah.
And when colonization came in, what made the Two-Spirit community diminish within the Native Indigenous tribes were the introductions of public schools, or because they forced them into very heteronormative roles. They had to assimilate, so they lost their culture and way of life.
Well, and so many Indigenous people died from disease and stuff, too, that I imagine their numbers were already so much smaller.
The Indigenous tribes have been going back to their roots and really embracing the Two-Spirit identity again. The image that I have on the screen is actually the flag for Two-Spirit people, and it's an umbrella term within the LGBTQ+. So this is the essentially pride flag for the Two-Spirit people.
I really like the symbolism there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Two-Spirit people. I put the turtle for Turtle Island also.
I appreciated that. It was like you went in and you added that little doodle. You selected it out of choices.
That's so cute. These are all cultures that are very earth-centered.
Yeah.
And so...
And like very... So
spiritual.
It's also... That's really interesting because they're very earth-centered. They're very in tune with nature. And they were able to accept this, like, third gender, fourth gender, fifth gender, whichever, however number each culture had. But then the colonists came and were like, let me talk about capitalism. Yeah. This is what matters.
If these traditions existed around the world, how did modern transhistory begin to take shape? We're now going to go into Magnus Hirschfeld. You know him. You learned about him last week.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So
I just was talking about him and how his work was destroyed.
Yeah. So Magnus Hirschfeld was a sexologist and physician in Germany from 1919 to 1933. He was a LGBTQ advocate as well as a homosexual male himself, and he was one of the founders of the Institute for Sexual Science and an early transgender research pioneer. He also was a huge activist. In 1896, Berlin had this thing called the Great Business Exposition of Berlin, which essentially is just like a exhibit that people
Like a business fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at this business fair, they had human zoos, which your face just
Yeah, this is an audio thing, but yeah, my eyes bulged and I was like out of breath for a moment.
So they're just as terrible as you think.
Okay.
So human zoos featured people of the German colonies,
Mhm.
and they essentially took people and put them in these exhibits. And
Who took them?
the German,
Other Germans?
the German,
Okay.
people. But these happen around Europe, so it's like other countries would do these.
So Germans are taking other people and putting them in zoos.
Yes, and this one that he specifically went to featured people of the German colonies in New Guinea, Africa, China, Chamorros, and Micronesia.
Okay.
When Hirschfeld went to these, he was really interested in sexuality and culture. He would go to different human zoos and he would talk to interpreters to help him learn about the homosexuality and also transvestism.
In German, like they spoke German and
Yeah, he spoke German and he had a translator who would speak the native
oh,
language.
okay.
And then he would.
This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Why are we not talking about the fact that human zoos have been around?
Right.
Like, I cannot believe the words coming out of your mouth right now. Okay, go on.
So he wrote a book on transvestism in 1910 called Transvestites, the Erotic Drive to Cross-Dress. And then he also wrote one for homosexuality as well in 1914, The Homosexuality of Men and Women. And it was him talking to all these people in different cultures to prove that homosexuality and transvestism exist in all cultures across the world.
That's so interesting. Good for him.
Yeah.
And so he also was acknowledging that lesbians existed.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because especially in Berlin, in the Weimar Republic, there was a huge queer community
Mhm.
at that time too. And he was pretty much one of the big reasons for it. He was such an advocate there that there was a period of time where he was trying to work with politicians. He got Albert Einstein to sign some petitions forms. Like, there's actually forms that show that Albert Einstein had signed forms to support
That's so cool.
his advocacy work.
Yeah.
And he threatened to out some people in the government if they didn't
Yeah.
pass these laws. To help
Whether
protect.
it's true or not, I feel like if you threaten, like I've got the power.
Right.
That's great. Do it.
He used the word transvestites more broadly, so it included people who would cross-dress,
Mm-hmm.
people who identified with another gender, people who experienced discomfort with their assigned gender, and in today's words, we would say it includes trans people, non-binary people, and gender non-conforming people.
Okay.
His work argued that transvestites were natural variations of human sexuality and gender expression and shouldn't be seen as criminals, mentally ill, or deceptive. When he was advocating for legal protections for transvestites, it led to the German police offering transvestite certificates. It was illegal for people to wear clothes of another gender.
Mm.
And so if you had the transvestite certificate,
Mhm.
it was allowed. You wouldn't get in trouble.
Oh, okay. Because, yeah, I've heard through history that it was like scandalous if a woman dressed as a man in like stories and stuff. You kind of hear that.
Mhm.
But I had never really thought about it being illegal. But what a cool guy.
Yeah. The next two people that I'm going to talk about still within this time period is Dora Richter and Lili Elbe. So Dora Richter was born in 1891. She is a German trans woman, and she worked with Hirschfeld in his Institute for Sexual Science. She was one of the first trans women ever known to receive gender-affirming surgery.
Wow.
Mhm. These procedures occurred in the 1920s and early 1930s.
Wow.
So she lived and worked as openly as a woman in Hirschfeld's institute. The two surgeries that we have historical record that she underwent is the removal of the testes. It's called a orchiotomy. I can't pronounce that. But it's the removal of the testes and the removal of the penis, penectomy. But the records are incomplete because, which we will talk about more, a lot of the records were destroyed.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The other person is Lili Elbe. She was born in Denmark in 1882, and she's known as an artist and a painter, and probably one of the most famous early transgender women at the time. She became internationally known for undergoing a series of gender-affirming surgeries in Germany in the early 1930s, and she inspired the movie The Danish Girl.
Oh. Mm-hmm. How brave for these people to go under these surgeries. Like, to me, it sounds like, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't alive in the 30s, but it sounds like it would have been painful and awful and like,
Yeah, I don't know if there was anesthesia.
that's what I'm like. Were they awake and like just taking poppy, whatever, what did they call it?
Poppers?
No, not poppers. I mean, maybe that's different time. No, milk of the poppy, which is like heroin for like pain.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like really brave and like literally pioneers.
Right. She lived as both Einar Wegener and Lili Elbe, but she sought medical care through the physicians in the emerging fields of sexology. She underwent multiple surgeries to help her live as a woman, but the surgeries were extremely experimental. Medicine was still learning, and the procedures carried enormous risks. And one of the biggest risks, of course, is death. And she died in 1931 following complications from her surgery.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
And the doctors that were leading, were they like in Denmark or were they in Germany? Where were these doctors?
The Institute of Sexual Science, yeah.
Well, and that's like, I mean, it is such a like a lab rat thing because they're like, we don't know, we're just kind of trying it for the first time. How scary.
Yeah. I mean, the physicians were experimenting with care. It's like it sucks that she passed.
Right.
But it's also amazing to know that there were people trying to get gender-affirming care about 100 years ago.
It's people in the Western world.
Right. As we know, this progress would have devastating opposition, which is how we get to the destruction of queer history.
Oh, more.
So this image that I have in the picture is actually a picture of the Nazis going through the
This is a real photo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming, why would you Photoshop this?
This is an image of the Nazis going through the Institute of Sexual Science and deciding what to destroy.
Fuck these guys. These fucking Nazis.
On May 6, 1933, the Nazi Party burned down the Institute of Sexual Science. And some of the things they burned down was the research of sexuality and gender diversity, patient records, books and photographs, medical files, and personal testimonies. So a bunch of the research that we had at the time and Magnus Hirschfeld and his team had created. It's so annoying.
You can't get it back. It's just gone. You know, it's just like frustrating and sad.
Yeah. We know a lot was lost, but we don't know how much. That's one.
I mean, all of what we had, it seems like, right? Because it's like how much more progress could have been made faster and like done well if we had still had that foundation. And
then the little bulk of words that you see on the corner, that's actually a plaque in Berlin for the Institute of Sexual Science. That's there now that people can visit. So despite the attempts to erase this history, trans and gender diverse communities continued to organize, which is how we get to the United States. We've talked about Stonewall a bunch, but I'm just going to reemphasize it for people.
I already have a question.
Yeah.
Was this after the pennies when we switched to bricks? So like not the first person to throw a penny or coin, because it said who threw the first brick.
There was someone who threw a brick at Stonewall, and that was what started the big. The pennies were just like a pre-thing that people were doing, but the first brick was what incited the riot.
And then I'm guessing Marsha was like, I'm serious, I'm going to throw a brick.
So the thing is, no one knows who threw the first brick at Stonewall. People do think it's either two of these activists, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, but there's also a thought that someone also thinks that there is a lesbian woman who did it. Some people think also Storm de la Vree was also a person who could have done it, but there's no account. Everyone says it's a different person. There's no...
And none of them are claiming it, or are they all claiming it?
No one is claiming it.
Okay. I would claim, even, I mean, they'd be like, you weren't even there. I'd be like, it was me.
There's just so many conflicting accounts that there's no actual set record on who was the first person to throw brick at Stonewall.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, the Stonewall Uprising happened between June 28th and July 3rd of 1969 in a Stonewall Inn bar in Greenwich Village, New York. The mafia owned the bar, and raids were happening a lot in New York, but they were usually happening in the weekday, early in the night. But the Stonewall Uprising happened on a Friday night at the busiest time. It was jam-packed, and it was just a lot of frustration within the LGBTQ community that this was happening, and the fact that they were being exploited by the mafia as well. Marsha P. Johnson was a Black LGBTQ advocate, and she was also a performer, a community organizer, and advocate for the homeless LGBTQ youth. She was at Stonewall. We know she was at the Stonewall Uprising when they happened, but her impact was mostly afterwards during the LGBTQ liberation movement and helping with LGBTQ youth specifically. The other person is Sylvia Rivera. She was a Latina activist who was also a street youth survivor. So she was one of these LGBTQ youth that was houseless in New York. She was an LGBTQ organizer, and she is of Puerto Rican and Venezuelan descent.
And she's holding a little kitty cat
Yes.
in her picture.
Yes. In her picture, she has a little kitty cat there.
Both of these women look so fun to hang out with.
Right. Both of them created STAR, which is the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. So they provided housing, food, support, and community for LGBTQ who didn't have any place to go.
That's like so touching, so sweet.
Yeah. It was amazing because they created their own community, and I think that's
Right. Unfortunately, the teen homelessness seems to be quite a problem, and a lot of like parents find out. I mean, I don't know now if that still happens as much, but it was at least at the time. I think Bobby from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy talks about how his parents kicked him out when they found out that he was gay, and so it is like such a common problem in the community. So it's lovely that they
It's also, if you really think about it, a lot of Latino and Black communities are historically much more religious because of a lot of the colonization and forced Christianity upon a lot of them. Fearing homosexuality has been passed down from colonization. That's one of the reasons why a lot of the youth would come out, or they were trans, like their family would just completely disown them. And so in this slide, I have a picture of the STAR community on a march, but there were different types of community support that wasn't just happening through activism. It was also happening within the culture, specifically ballroom culture. I love ballroom culture. I'm so surprised you have not heard anything about ball culture. Ball culture is amazing.
Okay, when you said ball culture, I thought you meant like slang for testicles.
No.
And I was like, I don't know, but I'm in. Okay, but I'm still in. Tell me more.
So ballroom culture is like a found family situation.
I have a friend that said he was raised by drag queens, and now I know what he meant.
Yes.
Okay.
So ball culture has always existed, but modern ball culture didn't happen until recently. The ancestors of modern ballroom culture, it existed in the 1860s to the 1960s, where there were drag balls, masquerades, cross-dressing contests, and one of the most infamous drag balls were the Harlem drag balls. But in these communities, they were very white-centered, and they discriminated a lot of the time. Like in the pageants, none of the people of the global majority, so the Latino or Black people would win because there was obviously the racism within.
Oh, so they were participating, but they would never win.
Yes.
Oh, bummer.
There was a trans woman named Crystal LaBeija who is depicted in this slide. Crystal LaBeija was really annoyed and pissed about the racism within the mainstream drag pageants, so she and a group of people created the House of LaBeija, which is a family house. It is a community of chosen family with either a house mother or a house father. It's a space for mentorship and community for LGBTQ, Black and Latino, and trans women and queer youth.
Cool.
So they would actually have houses, and it was literally them creating a family within each other. And within the ball culture, so it's like they would get a ballroom, and everyone would fill the ballroom, and there were different categories that you could participate in. And you've heard some of these terms because they come up in popular media now, but there is realness. So it was who could pass the best, like who could look most like a woman or who could look most like a man. So the realness category. The next was someone serving face. These are people who would never have the chance at that time period to become models or become famous and glamorous. And so it was their way of encompassing that within their own community. So serving face was just like who has the most like beautiful face or who's the look. So they were judging on that. There's runway, so there would be specific categories. So it could be like executive realness. So it's like who looks most like a like a leader, like a boss.
Oh, boss lady.
Yeah. They would do different themes
Yeah.
every week. And there were trophies. Like they were actually giving trophies out. And then the last would be a performance. So there would be voguing. That's how the voguing came to be. The dance. Madonna was very inspired from ball culture.
I want to move in. This sounds really fun.
Yeah. When they would do their competitions, if you got a perfect score, like you are doing amazing, you would get 10s across the board. If you looked amazing, that's why they got the term serving face, is because your face was like perfect. So there's a lot of lingo that is popular within the queer culture now that specifically comes from ballroom culture.
Well, and I would even say just mainstream media now. Those terms are like they've made it, and because we were like, oh, that sounds cool, we like it.
Yeah, like she's serving face, all of those terms and phrases come from ball culture. But yeah, so that is ballroom. In the slide, I also have a documentary here called Paris is Burning. If you ever have the chance to watch this documentary, I highly recommend it. They actually have film of people from the time period where it's like all the houses that were existing at that time.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good documentary.
And is it in Paris?
No. It's in
Harlem?
New York.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen the show Pose.
Oh, you were telling me about this.
Yeah. It's such a good show. And also it depicts ballroom culture in that time.
I'm terrible at watching movies and TV, but I do love documentaries. I can handle this.
Yes. Great. The legacy of gender diversity is clear that we've seen it in so many cultures. So it's very interesting to me that as a culture, we've gotten to this point where people are acting like trans people are new and they're just like coming out of the woodwork and they're like a scary thing to fear. But like gender diverse people have existed across cultures around the world.
I think this is a great episode for people to share with other people that do feel that way, though.
So yeah, that is it. Do you have any follow-up questions?
I thought this was really cool and informative. That's not a question at all. I don't think I have questions. This was so interesting. All of it was so interesting. I can't believe there were human zoos. That's also what the fuck is my only follow-up question.
That's what I knew you were going to be so focused. I knew you were going to be like...
Because I feel, are they coming back? Like, I don't want to be in one.
By the way, the things are
maybe I do. I don't know. Like, rent is expensive, inflation.
That's essentially what Magnus Hirschfeld is doing.
He was like, all right, let's you do something ethical here. Yeah.
Let's just talk to these people.
Because they probably loved when he came to visit, because otherwise they were just being like gawked at. And
yeah, he actually went to a lot of different countries in South Asia to do speaking engagements with doctors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he wanted to prove that gender diversity and homosexuality have existed across all cultures. Another thing about Magnus Hirschfeld that I forgot to mention is when he was talking to different cultures, all these cultures thought England had the most homosexuals.
Probably. I mean, God, they were like, you have to castrate yourself if you like men. Like, probably. Okay, sounds like you might have some issues then.
Right. For some reason, they're really afraid.
Have you seen what the king wears? Come on. You're telling me that the straight man's design? I don't think so.
All right, you ready for your pop quiz?
I am as ready as I will ever be.
So, which of the following best supports the idea that gender diversity is not a modern invention? A. The term transgender became widely used in the 20th century. B. Multiple cultures developed gender diverse identities independently before modern globalization. C. More cultures now recognize transgender rights than in the past. Or D. Social media has increased awareness of gender diversity.
I'm going to say B.
Yeah, that's right. Number 2. What do Māhū, Hydra, Bisu, Fa'afafine, and the two spirit traditions have in common? A. They're all modern transgender identities. B. They originated from the same religious tradition. C. They represent culturally specific ways of understanding gender diversity. Or D. They all emerged after colonialism.
C.
Yes, they represent culturally specific ways of understanding gender and diversity. You're doing great. What was one of the major effects of colonialism on many gender diverse communities? A. It created gender diversity where none previously existed. B. It encouraged recognition of third gender identities. C. It standardized gender diverse traditions worldwide. Or D. It often imposed more rigid gender systems on societies with existing traditions of gender diversity.
C would have been awesome, but D is what happened.
Yes. It often imposed more rigid gendered systems and societies with existing traditions and gender diversities. That's why the whole time I was trying to say, I was like, dude, fuck colonialism, fuck colonizers.
Yeah.
This...
Well, like the repressed gay man theory is really working for me.
Yeah. Number 4. Why are Dora, Richard, Lili, Elbe, and significant in transgender history? A, they helped demonstrate that people were pursuing gender-affirming care nearly a century ago. B, they invented modern hormone therapy. C, they founded ballroom culture. Or D, they led the Stonewall Uprising.
A.
Yes, they demonstrated people who were pursuing gender-affirming care nearly a century ago.
I have anesthesia now, so that's good.
Yeah. And number 5, which of the following is the strongest conclusion from today's lesson? A, every culture has understood gender in exactly the same way. B, gender diversity is unique to Western societies. C, ideas about gender have varied across cultures and throughout history. Or D, modern identities can be perfectly applied to historical people.
I feel like C and D can both be correct.
Well, it is only C.
Okay.
Just because we can't always apply a modern, like just because we know something as something.
Yeah. Well, and I guess especially like maybe they're not like, I'm a healer or whatever.
Right.
That might not be a thing for them.
A lot of the third gender communities consist of people who are non-binary. Some consist of people who are trans. Because it's its own phrase or word in their own culture, as a westernized society, be like, this is an equal equivalent to a trans person or a non-binary person.
That makes sense. There's not a correlation for every piece.
Yeah. Awesome. So that is the end.
Yay.
So why does this history matter? Well, of course, gender diversity is global and it's historical. It varies by cultures, and colonialism has had a terrible impact on a lot of these traditions. I think it's great. A lot of the places that were colonized are trying to bring a sense of culture back to them. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too. I think this presentation and like the cultural aspect and all of it was just really well done, because I feel like specifically to the US, the hugest like quote unquote political argument is like, but the athletes, and it's like, that's like 5 people. Like, why are we focused on the athletes?
Right.
Like focus on everyone else as a whole.
I don't care. If people want to do sports, let them do sports.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch. It's
Yeah.
fine. I'll watch the Olympics.
Right.
Like, I don't care what you need to do. I don't care if you need to be in your own league. I don't care, whatever. Just give them what they want. Give them their rights. Let them live their life.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out the rest afterwards. The
Yeah.
sports shouldn't be what's driving this decision.
Right. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So one thing men care about the most.
Right.
Thanks for joining in this lesson. I say this all the time. It's one of my favorite lessons that I've done.
This was one of my favorite lessons too. It was really, really interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, the human Zeus.
I'm shook. I honestly, I feel like you just saw my face go to a place where I was thinking about it again and was like, what the fuck? Especially because like, I know it wasn't like, this person's really beautiful, so we're going to put them in a zoo. It was like, look at these other cultures, put them in a zoo.
Yeah, the savages.
Yeah, like scary.
Mhm.
That's really scary. I mean, I can't even go to animal zoos because they make me sad.
Right.
So I can't imagine going to a human zoo.
Right.
The lack of ethics.
Ethics in Western society is wild to me. This is also one of the reasons why I probably will do an episode on religion, but this is also why I have such an issue with religion, because a lot of these colonizers were people with religious backgrounds. I'm all for people being religious who want to have faith and have a community. I think religion is great for those things. But if that means thinking your way of life is the only way that people should live, and that because someone thinks differently than you or does not believe in something, that they are wrong for existing, or they're just wrong or terrible or immoral, is completely wild to me. I'm fine with religion until people take it to that point. And unfortunately, as history and the current society shows today, people have and will still keep taking it to that point.
Because those people had their religion too. Like the people that were colonized already had their religion, and their religion wasn't like, if you don't believe this, you're going to burn in hell. So I'm like, at what point did we write that in, that has to be a part of the belief as well? Like, if you want to believe whatever you want to believe, that's fine. Don't worry about everybody else.
This is a community who should not be treated differently, seen negatively, stigmatized just because of who they are as a person. And I think it's absolutely stupid. If you believed a man turned water into wine, you can believe that there is another gender. Like, there's so many other wilder stories within Christianity that you're telling me you cannot believe that a person doesn't necessarily feel like a man. Like, that is a wild notion.
I
to
was
me.
talking to somebody about this a couple of weeks ago about how in the Bible, like the first part, it just like casually, it's like Moses lived to be 790 whatever. And I remember as a kid, I was like, were the years shorter back then? Like, can you explain what's happening to me?
Is that days?
Yeah, I was so confused. And I was like, he didn't even have dental care and he was living to be like 800.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, whatever, that's each his own. But it's like, who cares? Like, just this is not affecting you at all. Like, even the fact that they had to wear buttons to be like, I am a man, don't look at me.
Oh, yeah, the Māhū people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the I am a boy buttons.
Yeah.
And the transvestite certificate.
Right.
The fact that you were like, you can exist, but you need documentation because I don't want to be attracted to you.
Right. That's the biggest threat.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a you problem. That's not
Right.
their. You are making your problem their problem,
Yeah.
and that's even worse.
yeah. And like, they maybe are not attracted to you. Did you ever
Right.
think about that possibility?
Right. But anyway, thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This is a great episode. This is very informative. I loved it.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you wanting to celebrate Pride with me.
Yeah.
Being on these lessons.
Thanks for teaching me all this cool stuff.
You're welcome. That's it for today. Have any questions about human sexuality? Submit it anonymously using the link in the show notes. If this episode helped you understand something a little better, share it with a friend, because the best way to destigmatize sex is to talk about it. Follow the show to stay updated on future lessons. And if you want to go deeper, grab the Essential Sex Conversations workbook by joining the newsletter. Bye!
Bye.